Health and wellness are more than a destination. They are a process and a journey of personal choice. Come hear from people out in the field, doing the work, bringing health and wellness to many.
Welcome, Lorie. Oh,
Hi.
so wonderful, and my honor to have you here with our audience in a wellness revolution. And I wanted to say that, if for all of you who don't know Lorie, she is an author, a teacher, a spiritual thought leader. I love that part, and helping people to understand consciousness. That's such a big word, and to really come into their empowerment as human beings. What does that really mean? Well, I love what you do, Lorie. I've followed you for years. In 2016, you started your YouTube channel. And actually, I love what you said. And I'm going to say what you said. You said, I shared teachings and messages regarding the evolution of human consciousness and how to move through your own unique awakening. That's a powerful statement. You said it a long time ago.
Wow.
I'm curious, how this began for you. This is such a journey.
Wow, that's so interesting. I said that back in 2016, because that is the thread that keeps kind of weaving through my work, regardless of what I say or what I'm teaching. That is the thread that's the same. My journey started obviously when I was born, but at the age of like 13 is when I knew I was here for something pretty specific and pretty big. But there weren't specifics around it, like, oh, you're going to do this and this, you're going to be a writer, you're going to be a speaker. I didn't really know, although I did always love speaking and having a microphone. But I knew that it was this voice that came in from outside of me, these guides, right? But to me at 13, it was just this voice, and it was that knowingness feeling. But I also knew intuitively that whatever this was that I was here to do would change my life. And it would be a commitment. I would be committing to it. There was just this deeper sense that it was like, if I did this, my whole life would be this. And so I didn't do it until 42, 43. So I really chose most of my life to not do it because there was this fear that it would require me to invest everything in it. And there was definitely a moment before I committed in 2015 is when I said yes to doing this work. I really loudly, physically committed to it, and then mentally and spiritually. But, in 2010, I was in a relationship. I was living with my partner. We were trying to have a baby that never happened. I mean, I remember driving one day. I was an executive assistant in a private equity firm. Life was just so boring and so simple and so easy. And I literally remember thinking, like, you know what? I could live the rest of my life this way, even though I knew that I was here to do something else. Somehow in 2010, 2011, 2012, I really convinced myself that I would just stay in this life that I was in that was so simple and so easy. And there was something beautiful about that simplicity. And then I got rattled. I met somebody that really woke me up into what I'm here to do on an energetic level. This man came into my life, and he's still in my life as one of my best friends, but it was a massive catalyst.
Right.
And that's when I realized it's time to get to work. In 2015, I decided to commit to whatever this was. And I told my guides, these energies beyond me, outside of me, that I would do anything. When I committed, I said, okay, I'll go all in and I will do anything and everything you say to get this work off the ground.
That's so,
wow.
Lorie.
Yeah.
Wow. I think that's so amazing. We all have those moments, right? That push us. I know I have my own. We all do. because we wouldn't be doing this. It's so much work for the world. And I was thinking, as you were talking about those years where you weren't doing it, that they were nice and quiet. They had their good things. I just wonder, like, we all are going through kind of an awakening, whether we realize it or not, whether the souls are aware of it. How would you describe that for people? How would you just generally describe what the awakening or this special time is?
Oh my gosh. It's so layered. It feels like there's like so many kind of layers that you go through in this evolution and the awakening. But simply put, it is experiencing the human journey through different lenses. So it's almost like you enter into the human journey with certain lenses. So you become attached to things. You start having trauma. You believe your thoughts. You believe your emotions. You're programmed into certain things. You're unconscious. You're in amnesia. There's these like states of awareness that we find ourselves in the human journey. And evolution, or the awakening process, to me is beginning to awaken up out of the lenses, the how we are seeing the world, and how we're being in the world. And it's this really, it can be a very gentle or a very abrupt process or a journey, and it can go like this up and down, but it's a rattling you into who you think you are, rattling you into how you are in the world, rattling you into the thoughts you believe about yourself, the emotions you believe about yourself, that you actually believe that you're the human, all these, and it's like, it doesn't end. So it's just this profound experiences that just keep shifting and changing. The lens you start to use when you walk outside just starts to shift ever so slightly, like your hair growing, where it's like, a year goes by and there's just these very subtle shifts that you're realizing about yourself. Somehow life is a little bit more calm, or perhaps a little bit more chaotic. You find yourself not controlling as much, or you find yourself in so much control, right? These things that are being experienced are giving us the gift of awakening, right? You're noticing more and more, oh my God, I can't stand the relationships I'm in, or, oh my God, I'm finally free in these relationships. It can go in any direction, the awakening. But to me, it's like these constant glasses are getting kind of cleaned off more and more and more.
That is such a nice way of looking at it. I was thinking, as you were saying that, when I was teaching about the new energy right before when I had my awakening, but it was a long time ago. And I remember thinking, I woke up one day and I thought, and I walked around the airport because I had to go somewhere, and I looked at all the people and I thought, oh my gosh, we're all the same. We're all connected. It was crazy. It was like suddenly I had this total empathy for everybody in a way I had never had before. And I could only think, wow, you're all amazing. Like, we're all amazing. That was just really what happened to me. I was just like, wow. And I had been asleep before then. So, I mean, not completely, but how you say the glass. And that's just that feeling like, wow, we're alive. We're here.
Yeah.
This is incredible. So I totally get what you just said. That's so.
Yeah. That awareness that you had is God. I call it like the God spark, right? It's like, you tap into who you have always been, who we all are, this light that interweaves every single thing on the planet. And it's all this same spark, right? And I think so many of us, most of us, are searching for this our whole lives. So we're searching for it in religion. We're searching for it in partnerships. We're searching for it in food. We're searching for it in money. We're constantly searching for it. And the most insane, crazy thing is that it's always been right here, right now, right? And so the awakening process is coming back home to that initial kind of God spark that incarnated into the physical body, it's profound. And you look out and you start to be in awe of like, holy cow, like do you know how miraculous you are? Do you know?
Yeah.
And but you're feeling it. Yeah, it's a feelingness, right? That is just, the few times that I have felt it in the past couple of months, it's so intense that it brings tears to my eyes,
And I love how you use the word notice. You notice this, you notice this. You start to observe your reality. I think that's really what starts happening too. But I love I listened to you for a long time. What I love about you is that you tell what it's like, but you also tell the most beautiful things, but you also tell the difficult things, because it is quite a challenge this time we're in. It's not like you just go, oh gosh, we're so amazing. And yes, it's so easy to just go through this. But I think I would like to start with the question of consciousness, because that is a really big question. I teach about it, but I think the way you teach about it, like, how do you describe it? If you were to say, what is consciousness in just a few sentences?
It's such a cosmic joke, right? Like,
Yeah.
that the humans trying to describe and explain just beingness.
Yeah.
Consciousness to me is energy. And consciousness is it's the smallest minute. You can't go any tinier than, and you'll find consciousness, and you expand out and it's all consciousness. So it's this really strange awareness that it's everything, that it is everything, including galactic beings, including source consciousness, including just light emanating, including the physical body, and so consciousness has the ability to experience itself through frequency, right? So based on the frequency of that energy or consciousness, it kind of creates specific awarenesses, it creates specific experiences in the, you could call it the quantum field, or the everything, where everything exists. And so it's really, really difficult to describe consciousness through mind, through density, through physicality, but it's everywhere. So it's almost like, hey, can you describe it? Can you describe consciousness? And consciousness is looking at consciousness, laughing, like, it's right here, it's right here, it's right here, it's right here, it's right here. It's everything. But it's frequency as well. It's energy. Simply, it's energy. Energy is frequency. Based on the frequency, will give the consciousness an experience. We are some sort of consciousness in physical consciousness. So the physical body is a consciousness. We are not that. We are not the physical body, right? But we are consciousness, energy of some frequency inside this physical body that also is some sort of frequency, experiencing the physical world, which is all frequency or consciousness. And it's all based on the vibrational tone or frequency. So a tree will feel a certain way, a pig will feel a certain way, a human will feel a certain way. Yeah.
So beautiful how you say that, because today I went to the tulips in Amsterdam with my son and his girlfriend. And it's just, all those colors are different. And you're just like absorbed. You become one with them, right? You're like, oh, I didn't know that this color, this is so amazing. And so you're having this wonderful experience, just experiencing the different colors and the beauty of nature. But I think where it goes is to appreciate it, right? Because I think you can't appreciate it. What I always understood, if you're in the past or if you're in the present worrying, but being right now, right in this moment, that's what it helps to do when you're just one with the tulip or whatever. And when you're one with another person, or when you're one. So I'm curious, to me, we're here to learn that we are the creator, right? We are the one. We're so special as human beings. I don't think we really, I help my students understand how amazing they are. And that is something that we have forgotten as humans. And I'd love you to speak about being the creator, because it is such a big thing. Like when you think I am the creator, most people, when they hear that, they're like, what does that mean? So I'm curious how you would.
Yeah. I mean, I think that that's a difficult statement for people to hold, because they are judging their experiences.
Yeah.
And so there's something wrong. There's something that needs to be changed. There's something that needs to be fixed. So I tend to not use the term "you're a creator," because even though we are. And the reason I don't tend to use that is because humans will then try to control. So they'll try to control. There's judgment, there is attachment, and if you realize that you actually are the creator and there is actually nothing wrong with what you're experiencing, there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with fear. There's nothing wrong with anger. There's nothing wrong with rage. There is nothing wrong with anxiety. There's nothing wrong with love or peace or joy. Like if you realize there's nothing wrong with any experience that you're actually having in the human field, in this human journey, that it all just simply is the experience, then you can really tap deeper into the creator. Because if there's no attachment to trying to get out of or change or fix, then this creator is free. So unless you're free, which means that all is okay, all is allowed, which is very difficult to get to.
Totally.
It's hard to get to that space. But if humans can start getting to that place first, wait, there isn't anything wrong with me. I don't need to change an emotion. Mm. No. Then what kind of creator would you be? Because you would be creating from such a place of empowered freedom that it's like this expansive place of like, the other question would be, would you even be creating, or would you be more just experiencing what life is giving you in every moment, right? I don't know the answer, but we do create, we do intend, we do manifest life. But one of the things that I have this argument with, it's not an argument, but a discussion with my friend quite often about manifestation, which is, I get it. I do it. I have goals. Okay. But I also think it's a trap when we are in this space of like creation, because if it's pulling you out of, like you said, presence, which is truly where you find absolute peace and God and flow and joy, and you start looking at the tulips from that colored spectrum, that's presence. And there's no change. The only way to be and find stillness and presence is that you don't try to change anything. If you're trying to change things and create things, it's almost like you're pulling yourself out of the power of what is right here. And the only way to get right here is to be in what is right here. Yeah.
I think eventually, don't you think eventually this is like, we're really like in this, where we're trying to understand these concepts, and eventually we'll just be them.
Yeah, exactly.
We won't even have to think, what is it to be the creator? Because we'll just be creating. But anyway.
That's what's so cute about the human. We're like, okay, let's talk about this. And it's like, oh, that's so cute, because, we have to try to understand it first. We have to dissect it. We have to put words to it. Right. But again, like the evolution, eventually something happens and it begins to continue to happen where you're no longer needing to kind of understand. You are simply, we're simply being it. And so, yes, we are the creators 100%. I mean, we chose to come into this. We chose our families. We chose the bodies. We chose the place we're going to live. We chose some of our deepest wounds that we're going through. Like, man, we're empowered and creative. And we have that ability here and now to create. But first you have to stop running.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. I have a spiritual teacher that always said to me, well, the old ways are going and the new times are coming. She's much older. She died. She was like 80 something a couple years ago. But she said always to me, I'm helping you clear. You're here for the new, and I'm leaving right before the new. And she left in 2020. It was amazing. It was like she knew. Yeah, it was amazing. But she was talking about the old and the new all the time. And we're all recognizing it. We're all seeing it, right? The old structures are falling, the new are coming. It's quite a time. I mean, we're like, wow. And we want to be in the moment. We're trying to be in the moment with all this stuff happening. It's crazy. I mean, it's funny in a way. We could laugh a lot about it. But yeah, I think we should laugh more. But the thing is, my question to you is, the old is going, the new is coming. You talk a lot about this, to how to handle this. What would you say today? Because it is quite a time. I mean, people are suffering, they're hurting, their bodies are breaking down. Because all the new light coming in, the bodies have to adapt to all this new light. So there's a lot happening with us.
Yeah, there's so much happening. And like, one of the things that we spoke about this, the knowingness, right? One of the things that I know is really important in terms of the new paradigms of teaching, the new paradigm of spirituality, the new ways that we are going to be forced into or naturally walked into this journey that we're on as the human, is realizing that there's nowhere to go. Right. So there is no heaven that we are walking to. No. There is no like 5D earth somewhere else. There is no, there isn't anything to go to. Everything has to be understood and experienced in it. So that the heaven is right here. The chaos is in with the heaven. The pain is in with the joy. The love is in with the fear. And so it's learning how to be in the chaos, in calm. And I'm not learning how to do that. We're learning how to do that, as opposed to, I'm going to elevate myself out of this and then I will be able to get through this. And I think what we're realizing is, oh shit, I can't go anywhere. Like nothing is alleviating what it is that I'm trying to alleviate. And I think that is what is really jaw-dropping for us, is this. And that's why so many of us are so exhausted, is because the old ways in which we have been taught to do this, change.
We could just deny it, right? We could just cover it up. We could
cover it up, do the spiritual practices and all of these things. And it's like, wow, these things aren't going to continue to work for humanity, because the way humanity goes through this is they have to stand in the fire. We have to stand in the battle. We have to stand in the dark. We have to stand in the evil. We have to stand in it. And we have to shine, and we have to hold heart, and we have to see the beauty in the tulips while you turn on a YouTube and it's showing you this horrific stuff that's happening. Like those are both happening simultaneously right here, right now. All right. And so the body's breaking down. These things are happening. And so to me, what it's teaching us is this deeper sense of compassion, this deeper sense of allowing, this deeper sense of letting go of control, the deeper sense of faith, that there is no imperfection in what's happening. And, those are the teachings that are most important right now, in my opinion, is really getting people to understand, stop running. And imagine the compassion that we would have when we realize that we can't fix anything. No. Like, what if it's like, I see you, I hear you, I'm holding you, and let's walk side by side with this. I mean, yes, there's tools, and yes, there's practices, and yes, there's people that can assist us and do the work with us on our bodies, and yes, there's medicine, and all of that is real. And yes, that's there, right? Yes, you're going to go to the doctor or whatever, if you have physical stuff, whatever. But the deeper invitation is finding a sense of stillness and calm and peace with the paradox of, I'm sick, I have cancer, these things are happening to me,
like acceptance,
for me.
Acceptance. Yeah, it's so interesting because we teach, like, I understand we take from life. We made these bodies, right? We designed them that we would eat. And we're not just eating, right? We're taking in life stories. This is what we're doing. So our whole digestion is about really going through what you're talking about. So like when I help people to heal, I believe people will heal themselves one day. But when I help them heal, and there are so many gut issues right now, like it's crazy. And it's because we are having to do exactly what you said. Accept, allow, realize what we have allowed, realize that we have to accept, and we have to become what we have experienced on some level, and let go of what it's like a whole conduit, right? The digestive. So I find it really fascinating, the physical, how that all connects. But when you're describing it, it's true. We cannot keep judging it. And right now there's a lot of judging. It's quite a crazy world. So
the judgment is so subtle, yet so powerful. And, it's either really loud or, or somewhere in between, but man, yeah. And it's so true what you're saying about the gut, and the body. I experience it, when there's resistance, when I have resistance in my life around something, when I'm quieting myself, I feel the gut. When I am restrictive in whatever I'm going through, I can feel it in my gut. It's very interesting how they are the energetic experience of the world and the manifestation of that in the body.
Well, I mean, what you describe in your book, like I'm getting to your book now. I'm going to show it. So beautiful.
Yay.
I loved it. But you talk about us as creators and creating Earth even. And I think it's so cool about that whole concept, but also that if you think about what you just said, like we created the body. I mean, the body has been created for a reason. Every part means something, right? So fascinating. But I want to get to this book because I found it amazing. So what I loved about your story is as you were walking up the mountain of Machu Picchu and you had this voice say to you, wow, you're going to write Earth story. I can't imagine. Oh my word. Anyway, Lorie, that's such a funny thing. So tell me, what was that like? I mean, that's so amazing.
Oh my God. Yeah, it was, I definitely, on one level, little Lorie Ladd didn't necessarily choose to write this book, but the higher version of me obviously chose to write the book. One of the interesting things that my guides did tell me was, I said, because it was a labor of love, hate, everything in between. But before I described the Machu Picchu event, later on, like about a year ago, less than a year ago, once it got published, once it was out, I said to my guides, I said, which are the ones that came in that day, which I'd never spoken to prior. I said to them, why me? Why was I the one, chosen? And am I the only one that was chosen to bring this information? And they said, no, Lorie, no. You are not special. They said, you are just there were many that had the same sort of blueprint. You were just the only one that actually committed and fulfilled it, which I found fascinating. Because it is a commitment, at least from my perspective and my experience, it was a massive commitment. But when I went to Machu Picchu, not because I wanted to, although obviously I was guided to, this guy I was dating said, let's go to Machu Picchu. And I was like, I've never really wanted to go there, but okay, I'll go. Yeah. No idea that this book was what was going to happen. None. And when I got as close up to Machu Picchu as the bus kind of brings you up this 30-minute one lane road, the valley is incredibly activating. Never experienced anything as high vibrational as that mountain, that area. And right as we were pulling up, the voice came in, these guides came in and they said, my body started vibrating super high. And it said, you're going to be writing the history of humanity, the history of Earth, and you're going to be going around the world talking about it. And I was like, and they just kind of showed me different places around the earth. They started showing me speaking, and then they said, we need you to go on your own as you walk through Machu Picchu. And so I separated from my friend, that guy, and I sat in this one area, and man, I just took my phone out and did the little like voice record thing. And they just started telling me and showing me. So they showed me visions. That's how the book came in. It was like I was watching a movie and simultaneously being given information. And so they just started sharing with me what happened in Machu Picchu. What they first showed me was what happened around 4,000 to 5,000 years ago. That was the first piece that they gave me.
Chills when you're saying it.
Yeah,
is that like the Atlantis time or?
No, that was millions of years ago.
Okay,
that was
time ago. I was going to say.
Yeah. But the 4,000 to 5,000 years ago, many of us have this awareness. It's really when these higher dimensional beings that didn't have humanity's best interest at hand, it's when they kind of came in, when simultaneously higher dimensional beings that did have our best interest came in as well. And so we were being assisted quite physically by these higher dimensional beings that we talk about, right? And they created these portals and places on the earth where humans would intuitively would feel called to go to. And there was this real physical evolution that was happening on the planet through the assistance of our brothers and sisters, or whatever you want to call it, that's also us, right? And they were teaching us. So, then other energies came in as well and started to play around and started destroying all of this. So that's really when the battle started, the energetic battle that we find ourselves in right now. Yeah. And so now we're kind of bringing ourselves back up to those frequencies that the human was in back then, but we're having to do it kind of on our own, without the physical assistance that we had back then. Even though we do still have the assistance from the higher realms, there's always that guidance, that internal guidance system that's guiding us. But we also don't have the interference of these physical kind of lower dimensional but higher dimensional beings that did come in at that time as well. That's when the abductions happened, the hybridization programs happened. Most
people don't even know about all that yet. That's exposed.
Yeah. So that's all really difficult to hold. It's really difficult to grasp and understand, and it's take it or leave it. It's really not that necessary at this point. To in my opinion, what's most necessary at this point is to just go inward and recognize the programming and the who you think you are and things like that. But it is a part of our history, and I think that it is related to what we're in right now and what has been controlling our minds for so long.
It's so interesting when you're saying that. Like, the thing is, we are everything, right? So you say it. We're also the dark. We're not just the light. And it's so hard to accept the dark part of ourselves, because then we, like you said, we start to judge it and all that. But if we could I think the biggest point where we can get to with this awakening is when we become one with also the dark, and we can love it. Sort of, we can say, okay, I wouldn't want to do it again, but I needed it. It gave me something. I learned from it. I became something unique from that experience. I don't know how to else, but that was a struggle for me. So I can relate to what you're talking about. It's a
really good reframe. That's a really good reframe, because I still, when I bring it up and when I talk about it, the beings that did the hybridization, all of those stuff, it's very separate from me, right? I'm like, oh, they, and then you're like, you come in, or someone else, the other people have come in and been like, but aren't they you? And I'm like, oh shit, that's right. Wait, isn't this what you teach? Oh yeah, that's right. Oh yeah, they are me. They are God. They are all of it, right? And then there's the question of, well, why would it even happen? And it's like, well, Earth is a consciousness, and Earth created this experience, and then other consciousnesses. We're all consciousnesses, so we're all God. We're all together. We're all one, right? but we're also unique, and we also are having our own unique expressions of consciousness. But we're still interconnected, and so there is free will as consciousness that's unique in its own unique expression, yet we're all the same. And so there has to be this honoring, like you were saying, of like, wow, like that's your choice of free will, and yet you are me. And so it's the biggest paradox mind screw possible.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, it's all of it, it's none of it. It's physical and it's not physical. It's real and it's not real. It's separate and it's not separate, you know?
Totally. I mean, obviously we could talk about these things for hours. I really appreciate your time. I want to end with a couple really quick. I'm going to skip some of the others because I have a million things I could talk to you about, but it's fascinating. We are heroes. I mean, basically, I love what you say. You always say this. We're heroes. We are courageous to come on the planet, to have these stories, to experience everything. Wow, amazing. And I just, for anyone, because people are struggling, so much that I'm wondering, like, to realize who you are, to realize that you are the hero, that you're all the hero, no matter what role you play. Even if you played the dark, even if you were the worst dark part you played. Can you imagine how hard it is to play the dark guy? Like the guy who does the worst thing, or the girl that is like the worst, because nobody likes that part of the story.
Yeah.
So
no
you're
one wants
really
to
the hero, right? Yeah. So I'm just curious about that thought, because it is amazing.
I mean, I think if we can start to hold, because everybody has their own story, their own book. Everyone has their specific book, and probably multiple books that they've lived and written. And the hero is the one in the story, the main character of that book. And if you recognize that there isn't anything imperfect or wrong with the story, that there isn't anything wrong with the book, with your story, there's opinions, there's duality, right, wrong, good, bad, light, dark, positive, negative. Sure, that's experienced in this physical reality. But above and beyond that, this is an experience, and simply an experience. And we are, from a higher perspective, choosing this experience to have and to be a part of. And that's a really difficult concept for a lot of people to hold when they're just trying to survive, when they're just trying to make ends meet. So the subtle ways to kind of step into that faith and belief and trust and beingness is, what if there isn't anything wrong with me? Like, can you maybe hold that? What if there is nothing? And ask the question, because most people, if you say there's nothing wrong with you, well, but what if there wasn't anything wrong with you?
Right.
Really, truly, at the core of your beingness, there was nothing wrong with you. And everything is being shown to you. Yeah.
Can I add to that? If there was nothing wrong with you, what would you do then?
Yes.
I train coaches, but that's a wonderful coaching question, right?
What would you do then? Yeah.
What would you do then about this money problem? What would you do then about?
Yes.
Different, right?
Yep. And that's a real powerful shift in awareness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Lorie, you're so wonderful. I'm so happy to have met you. And, I asked one last question, which is, okay, you've got a big job. You took it on. And I understand it, because I also had one of those moments in Disney World, believe it or not. I had mine. Yeah, Michael the Archangel told me. And he said the same thing. I said the same thing, by the way. I said, why do I have this project? Like, why me? And he said, because you're going to show up every day.
Yes.
He said.
Because we're the only ones committing.
Yeah, we've been following you. You'll show up. Anyway, I had to laugh. But where do you think, like, let's say we are going to have the most amazing 10 years. Let's be honest. We know. I already have a knowingness about this incredible time. You guys, anyone who's listening can have hope that this is the most miraculous 10 years coming that we could ever go through. It's going to be amazing. But I'm wondering what you see yourself, because that lovely mission statement, like, how would that be for you in the next 10 years? Because you're going to have a big role. What would be your main role?
I mean, quite simply, I even thought about this morning or last night when I was in the bath. Last night, I think when I was in my bath, I was like, truly, deeply, the only thing that I want to be or do in this world is to assist humanity in releasing their suffering. So I think that in 10 from here until 2033, it's like
the golden age.
So the more that I can be heard, my voice get heard so that it can remind people of truly how simple this journey actually is into that God essence you felt at the airport, right? Like, if I can assist humanity in that awareness without bypassing and pulling them out of the intensity of the human journey, the more people that I can get to hear that, to see that, to be that is all I would want. And however that unravels and shows up, that's my highest calling, my biggest, deepest desire, creation would be that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That, and I thank you for showing up.
How about you?
Yeah, I thank myself sometimes too.
What's your 10-year?
Well, I will continue to train these coaches, because as a nurse, I feel, and I have a lot of doctors in my family, I feel a tremendous calling to alleviate suffering from the illness. I think we won't have an illness in the future like we have now. And I know I came to be part of that shift in the medical system to really help it. It's so wounded and it needs to also heal. So I'm helping to train these health coaches, and they're holistically trained, and they're multidimensional. They're the most amazing human beings. They're light workers. I never got to ask you about the light workers, but we'll ask another time. But I really want to thank you from my heart for this amazing moment to meet you, Lorie. And, we're doing the work.
We're doing it. What a role, what a powerful role you're playing in assisting the ones that are like the medical field. Those people that are in the battlefield. Like, they are the hardcore bow to you light workers, in my opinion. Like, the ones that are in it, I have nothing on them. You know what I mean? So I applaud you and everyone that is assisting them in making the really profound shifts, because those are the people that are actually going to truly make the biggest impact, because they're inside the systems.
Yeah. Thank you. I really appreciate that, because I think, it's like, I believe as I took people's hand as they were suffering as a nurse, I mean, I saw the worst suffering on the planet. Like, really, I couldn't even get into it, but it was hellacious. And I thought, oh my God, but they're still there, that they're not their body. Their body's not able to speak anymore. Their body's not able to even like eat, or they couldn't do anything. And yet they were still there. And I held them when they needed it. But I thought to myself, like, we don't have enough time with the people. And I think these health coaches now will bring an avenue to really guide one-on-one the individuals to become to what we're talking about, to the moment where they're healed and they're peaceful and they're accepting. And that is something we didn't have time for. So, but I really, I thank you, and we are doing the work, and I am grateful for this connection, and we will, you never know where this goes, Lorie, but I'm with you when you're there.
Thank you. I'm grateful that we connected, and yeah, let's do a part two another time. It went by really fast. So
It did. It was wonderful.